Yeah, we're an organization that is trying to preserve land use planning, zoning that will allow us to maintain equestrian advocacy and the equestrian tradition that, some of us grew up with, and just really trying to frame to local lawmakers about the benefits of preserving agricultural and equestrian zoning.
You are not in the city of Los Angeles, but you are concerned about rodeos potentially being banned in the city. Why is that?
Because I have a lot of friends that are part of the rodeo circuit in the San Fernando Valley, right there in the Sunland Tahunga Canyon Hills area. You have the highest concentration of horses in all of Southern California. It's a long tradition that predates the state of California when it entered into the United States. Rodeo is in many ways pioneered by the laborers and the indigenous communities that were here in Southern California and across the Americas. They're the only equestrian culture to invent the lasso, the lariat.
I'm speaking with Samuel about the state of rodeos in Southern California. What about concerns regarding the safety of the animals? I mean, there's roping, there's takedowns, there's things that are done to the animals to make them perform in a certain way. What do you say about that, Samuel?
Well, I think that it's very important to point out that this is a lifestyle. It's something that many of us grew up with. It's intergenerational. We have to share to the lawmakers that as agricultural spaces become more scarce in the city of LA, they're just trying to do an outright ban on rodeo. And it really speaks about the unfamiliarity with it. The amount of animals that are really injured in rodeo is totally negligible.
And what would you say to people who say, kids, for example, who aren't familiar with many of our domesticated animals can go to a petting zoo? They don't necessarily need to see them performing in a setting like rodeo, which could potentially lead to harm.
They might say that it's putting animals at risk, but what they don't acknowledge is that the rodeo is a space for young, aspiring athletes to be able to exercise their finesse, to be able to really challenge some of the very rigorous and sort of challenging events. But the animals ultimately that are being used are in fact treated well. But one of the things that stands out is that, they are not going after polo. They're not going after the hunter jumper equestrian events, which uses spurs. They have tailored the law to go after really the vast majority of the Mexican and, African American rodeo tradition, and also including the PBR, because they want to send a message. But there's a lot of jobs that would be impacted by this. And that's part of the reason they haven't gone after equestrian traditions that would be in the Olympics, because at the end of the day, they are really trying to preserve white privilege within the equestrian traditions, and going after rodeo is one way for them to erase our culture.
Talking about the state of rodeos in Southern California following Tuesday's panel recommendation to ban them in Los Angeles. Samuel, thank you for being on Morning Edition and sharing your perspective.
Yes, I appreciate it.